In 1533, a French diplomat named Jean de Dinteville sat down to write a letter to his brother François. "I am the most melancholy, weary and wearisome ambassador that ever was seen." He was stuck in England, sent by the King of France to watch Henry VIII divorce his wife, Catherine of Aragon, and marry Anne Boleyn. To watch Henry break from the Catholic Church because the Pope refused to allow it. To watch England split from Rome, and to report it all back to France. Dinteville spent most of the year there. The cold and damp made him ill. He missed his family, and he was miserable. 6 months into his posting, he commissioned a portrait. That same year, 1533, Hans Holbein the Younger was at the height of his career. Court painter to Henry VIII, the most sought-after portraitist in Europe. He'd painted kings, cardinals, merchants, scholars, many of portraits over a 50-year career. He was known for one thing: precision. Photographic realism 5 centuries before photography existed. No tricks, no illusions, just the truth, painted in oil. Until April 1533, when Jean de Dinteville asked him to do something he'd never done before. The painting shows 2 men standing in a room. Jean de Dinteville on the left, dressed in silk and fur. His friend Georges de Selve on the right, a bishop and diplomat. Between them, a table covered in expensive objects, globes, scientific instruments, books, and a lute with a broken string. The broken lute string symbolizes discord between Catholic and Protestant, between France and England, between what was and what was coming. Next to the lute, a Lutheran hymnal, open to a Protestant song. Everything on that table was a message. Everything pointed to a world falling apart. And at their feet, stretched across the bottom of the canvas, a diagonal blur. A grey smear that doesn't look like anything, unless you know where to stand. Walk to the right side of the painting. Look down at it from a sharp angle. The blur snaps into focus. It's a skull, massive, perfect, staring directly at you. This is called anamorphosis, distorted perspective, an optical trick invented during the Renaissance. And in Holbein's entire career, he did it only once. Look closer at the objects on the table. The instruments aren't random, they're set to a specific date. The celestial globe shows the sky over London. The cylindrical sundial shows a time and a day. The quadrant confirms it. April 11th, 1533. That year, April 11th was Good Friday, the day Christians mark the crucifixion of Christ. Holbein didn't just paint a portrait, he painted a moment. The exact day when death and resurrection intersected. And he did it for a man with a very specific philosophy. Jean de Dinteville had a personal motto, memento mori. Remember, you will die. He wore it like a badge, not as a threat, as a reminder. That everything he was watching collapse in 1533, the politics, the power, the religious wars, none of it would last. Nothing does. The skull wasn't decoration, it was his philosophy, painted into the floor. But here's the thing. You can't see the skull and the ambassadors at the same time. When you're standing in front of the painting, looking at the 2 men in all their wealth and power, the skull is invisible, just a smear. When you move to the side and the skull comes into focus, the men dissolve. You can't make them out anymore. You can't see both realities at once. Life or death. There's one more hidden image in the painting. Top left corner, behind the green curtain, a tiny crucifix, barely visible. While the skull is huge, unavoidable once you see it, the crucifix is almost hidden. Dinteville was Catholic. So was his friend Georges. They believed death wasn't the end. The skull reminds you that you'll die. The crucifix reminds you what comes after. But you have to look for it. For a melancholy ambassador whose personal motto was memento mori, remember you will die. The skull wasn't decoration, it was his philosophy, painted into the floor, hiding in plain sight.